Hello everyone and welcome to Earth Elects. I'm back from my hiatus, which I will explain at the end of this video, but it means there is plenty of election content to talk about. This one includes one election from February, in fact the 6th of February, but it did take them an age to finalise the results anyway. I am talking about the Costa Rican general election for the office of President, 2 Vice Presidents, and the Legislative Assembly, the unicameral legislature. The time in San Jose, the nation's capital, is 1641 on the 30th of March, and the results are in. The people's will has been made clear. The presidential election is held with a modified 2-round system. A candidate needs 40% in the first round. If no candidate does, a runoff between the top 2 is held. The vice presidents are attached to the ticket as running mates, therefore a vote for president is strictly a vote for 3 candidates, the presidential candidate and the 2 vice presidential ones. And there is a hierarchy. There's a first vice president and a second vice president. As for the Legislative Assembly, there are 57 seats elected using closed list PR, with a rule that the list must alternate between men and women. The 7 provinces of Costa Rica are the constituencies, and there had to be a 4-3 split between men and women for the number 1 spot of each province. The incumbent president is Carlos Alvarado Quesada of the centre-left Citizens Action Party, or PAC. Alvarado Quesada was Minister of Human Development and Social Inclusion from 2014 to 2016 and served as Minister of Labour and Social Security from 2016 to 2017, before being elected president in 2018. His party won 16.3% of the legislative votes and 10 seats in that election, coming third. He is term limited, as Costa Ricans can't hold consecutive terms, and Deputy Wilmer Ramos Gonzalez narrowly won the primary to replace him. Lawmakers Emiliana Molina Cruz and former Vice Minister Sebastian Urbina Cañas were his running mates. The party to come first in the legislative election in 2018 was the National Liberation Party, or PLN, seen as a proponent of the third way. Their candidate is José María Figueres, who won the primary, Minister of Foreign Trade from 1986 to 1988, and Minister of Agriculture from 1989 to 1990. Figueres has served as president already from 1994 to 1998. He also had a stint as director of the World Economic Forum from 2000 to 2004. His running mates are economist Álvaro Ramírez Bojantes and political scientist Laura Arguedas Mejía. The party won 17 seats and 19.5% of the vote in 2018. Second in 2018 was the Christian Conservative National Restoration Party, or PREN. Eduardo Cruikshank-Smith is a former member of the centre-right Social Christian Unity Party and entered politics in 1994 when he was elected alderman of the Municipal Council of Limón, and from 1995 to 1996 served as that body's president. In 1998, he left and in 2015 defected to his current political home. In 2018, he was elected as a deputy of Costa Rica's Legislative Assembly for Limon's first office, and he served as that body's president, or speaker, from 2020 to 2021. Deputies Yomara Rodriguez Hernandez and Administrator Leticia Argueda Solis are his running mates. Cruikshank-Smith was one of 14 PREN deputies elected in 2018 with 18.2% of the vote. The Social Christian Unity Party that he defected from, or PUSC, is a force in its own right, coming fourth in 2018. Former Vice President Linés Saborío Charrerí won the primary. Businessman Franco Pacheco Arte and environmentalist Gabriela de San Roman Aguilar were her running mates. The party won 9 seats and 14.6% of the vote in 2018. Fifth was the right-wing National Integration Party, or PIN, in 2018, and this time their candidate is Deputy Walter Muñoz Céspedes, with running mates being economist Ileana Vargas González and journalist Luis Fernando Astorga Gatienz. The party won 4 seats and 7.7% of the vote in 2018. 2 more parties made the Legislative Assembly in 2018. In 6th was the Conservative Social Christian Republican Party, or PRSC. Perennial candidate Rodolfo Hernández Gómez is their presidential nominee, with Administrator Lorena Solado Villaverde and political analyst Giovanni Rodriguez Solis as running mates. The party won 2 seats and 4.2% of the vote in 2018. Finally, the left-wing Broad Front put forward attorney José María Villalta Flores Estrada as its nominee, with the party's former president Patricia Mora Castellanos, who served in the role from 2013 to 2018, as well as being a deputy for San Jose Province's 11th seat from 2014 to 2018, and Minister of Women's Affairs since 2018, joining Professor Gerardo Hernández Naranjo. The party won 1 seat and 4.0% of the votes in 2018. There are 18 other parties, but only 3 others were really relevant according to opinion polls. The classical Liberal Progressive Party, or PLP, won 0.6% of the vote and no seats in 2018. Former Vice Minister Eliezer Feinzeig-Mintz was that party's candidate, with Foundation Director José Miguel Aguilar Berosjao and engineer Rocio Briceño López as the running mates. 2 of the parties expected to poll well were making their electoral debuts. The Conservative New Republic Party, or PNR, have nominated Fabricio Alvarado Muñoz, who was a deputy for San Jose's 17th office, elected for the National Restoration Party from 2014 to 2018, but after 2018 left the party to form its own. His running mates are journalist Francisco Prendas Rodriguez and lawyer Alexandra Loria Beach. Finally, the centrist and confusingly named Social Democratic Progress Party, or PPSD, nominated Finance Minister from 2019 to 2020 Rodrigo Chavez Robles, with economist Stefan Brunner Neibig and Dr. Mary Muniv Angermüller as running mates. The PAC had lost popularity after protests amid a 2018 tax reform and also corruption allegations, and Ramos Gonzalez was seen as a no-hoper, with the same being true about Hernandez Gomez, Cruikshank Smith and Muñoz Céspedes. Therefore, 6 parties remained in the running: the PLN, the PUSC, the Broad Front, the PLP, the PNR and the PPSD. Figueres Olsen is weakened by a corruption case, but as a disciple of neoliberal economics, eliminated several social welfare programs in office and promises further economic reforms if elected back to the office this time. Saborio Chavarri also proposes to lower taxes. On the other hand, the left-wing Vialta Flores Estrada wants a high increase in social spending, as well as proposals to fight climate change, but is hampered by his support for the left-wing regimes in Nicaragua and Venezuela, which are considered undemocratic by many. Alvarado Muñoz, who ran as a PREN candidate in 2018 and came second, but is now with his PLP, is supported by evangelical Christians, explaining his campaign against gender ideology and in favour of religious freedoms. Indeed, the 2018 campaign was mostly fought on social issues, with the progressive Alvarado Quesada beating the conservative Alvarado Muñoz in the second round. With unemployment at 20% and cost of living rising, this campaign was also held in the shadow of the COVID-19 pandemic that claimed 2,800 Costa Rican lives. Polling suggested Figueres Olsen would safely make it through as the leader, but not get enough votes to win in the first round, with Alvarado Muñoz and Saborio Chavarri fighting for second place. What actually happened in the presidential election was indeed a lead for Figueres Olsen, who won 571,518 votes, or 27.3%, but he was joined by Chavez Robles, who won 351,435 votes, or 16.8%. Alvarado Muñoz won 311,633 votes, or 14.9%, while Feinzeig-Mintz won 259,788 votes, or 12.4%, while Saborio Chavarri was pushed into 5th with 259,767 votes, or 12.4%. Vialta Flores Estrada won 182,789 votes, or 8.7%. All other candidates won less than 1%, including Ramos Gonzalez in 10th with just 13,803 votes, or 0.7%, and Hernandez Gomez in 12th with 12,224 votes, or 0.6%. Cruikshank Smith in 14th with 11,160 votes, or 0.5%, and Muñoz Céspedes with 3,022 votes, or 0.1%, putting him down in 21st. Turnout was 60.0%. Therefore, José María Figueres Olsen of the National Liberation Party and Rodrigo Chavez Robles of the Social Democratic Progress Party advanced to the second round, which will take place on the 3rd of April 2022. In the legislative election, the National Liberation Party came first again, winning 19 seats, a gain of 2 with 24.8% of the vote. The PPSD came second with 10 seats and 15.0% of the vote. The PUSC remained steady on 9 seats after winning 11.4% of the vote. In its debut, the PNR won 10.1% of the vote and 7 seats, while the PLP won 6 seats, gaining 6 with 9.1% of the vote. The Broad Front also won 6 seats, that's up 5 with 8.3% of the vote. The PAC lost all 10 of its seats with 2.2% of the vote, while the PREN lost all 14 with 2.1% of the vote. No other party won more than 2% of the vote, including the PRSC, who won 1.5% and lost both its seats, and the PIN, who won 1.1% and lost all 4 of its seats. The turnout was 60.7%. Therefore, the 57 deputies of the Legislative Assembly of Costa Rica have been elected. So thank you for watching this video on Costa Rica's election. The second round is coming up. I should explain that I did have to take a break due to the piling up of university work, which means there is a backlog of elections, but that's plenty of content to come. We have the Johor state election in Malaysia coming up. We have 2 by-elections from Canada, Fort McMurray and Lac La Biche in Alberta and Fort White in Manitoba. We have the general election in Malta. We have the general election in the state election in Saarland in Germany, and we have a referendum in Uruguay. So plenty of videos for me to make. I suppose I should crack on with them. But thanks for watching this one, and look out for those. Goodbye.